Hi, this is Eva for Once Upon a Timeline. Welcome, everybody. Okay, so my internet has been terrible all day. I'm hoping it'll hold up. I rebooted the router, I rebooted the computer like 3 times. Seems to be working, so fingers crossed. I'm not even sure what the problem is, actually. I don't know if it's the internet or my computer, but here we go. So, I had some comments on an old video of mine prompting me to look at the old video, and the old video was the one I did on these the queensguard, aka the beef eaters, or so I thought. When you hear beef eaters, what do you think of? Okay, in my timeline, and also in some of the old videos that Mandela Effects talked about, and I don't know if those videos are the same in this timeline, but these guys were the beef eaters, aka the Queen's Guard. Well, imagine my surprise when I went and checked over the term, which is the term I was using for a lot of my searches on the last video, and I type it in, and I find these guys, which I have never seen before, this outfit. I've typed in the word beef eaters many times, and these guys now are the beef eaters. No fuzzy hats. I was pretty taken aback, I have to say. So that term now has shifted to these people. So I looked it up. What is a British beef eater? So they have different outfits. They are the men in the strange uniforms with the silly hats that look after the Tower of London. Okay, so I guess the silly hats now are these goofy top hat things. All right. Well, they are ceremonial guards at the Tower of London. Their official title is the Yeoman Warders of Her Majesty's Royal Palace and Fortress, the Tower of London, and members of the Sovereign's Bodyguard of the Yeoman Guard Extraordinary. Quite a mouthful, isn't it? And quite possibly why they are affectionately called beef eaters. Okay. So now these guys here are the other guards. You have the horse guards who protect the queen. Then you have the Scottish guards who protect the gates at the Buckingham Palace. They wear the gray uniform. Okay, keep that in mind. So the Scottish guards, which apparently are sometimes called the Scots guards, wear the gray uniform. Now, that's one of the things that immediately got me on this whole role here, was this gray uniform thing. And then the Queen's Guards are the monarch's personal bodyguards. They wear the furry black hats and the red uniform. The thing is that these Scots Guards also wear the furry black hats, but they didn't say that here. I don't know. I mean, is this person confused also? Okay, so those are now beef eaters. These are just the Queen's Guard. I swear those guns just get a little bit more, I've said this in my old video, I'm pretty sure. And I looked at my old video, the whole thing, and I didn't catch myself saying this, but I swear I did say this. I don't remember these guns being this modern. I just remember them looking really old school. I mean, they really look like like a semi-automatic assault rifle, which I guess they are. I just remember them looking very rifle-like, just old-timey. I mean, let's face it, these guys are probably not really the main. They're ceremonial, so it was, the guns were, they were real guns, but they were much more for the looks. They didn't look like they would really shoot you with it. Okay, so, those are the beef eaters. So let's look at these yeoman warders. Apparently that's these guys. They're yeoman warders. Have not heard of that word. Last time I was doing research, I had not heard of the yeoman warders. All right, so there's that big long explanation, or that big long title. So there's some various images of these yeoman warders. I guess they just guard the Tower of London now. I've never seen these outfits before. I've typed in beef eaters lots of times. I've not seen any of this business. I mean, let's face it, this here is an outfit you won't forget. I don't know what to say on these. All right. Back. Name beef eaters uncertain origin. Dang, I remember it being something to do with the hats before, like, but now they're just saying they got to eat a lot of beef, maybe. Anyways, just weird. And an angel gave $5. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. We now have Rambo's gun. Yeah, I'm sure I said that before, but I just remember them being old-timey rifle-looking things. I mean, let's face it, nobody expects these guys to really have to shoot anybody. I mean, it made perfect sense in the old timeline. I don't recall them ever shooting one of those things. Yeah, the red coat guys. See, now, the red coats and the fuzzy hats, that was the beef eaters. And Mandela Effect had mentioned this like 2 years ago, that the hats were changing. And that's why I had done that video later on about the hats. And so I looked up all this stuff, and I know what terms I looked up. And I lost my train of thought, but let me just say that once you look up something and really study it for a Mandela Effect, and then it changes again, it's even more of a kick in the stomach, because now it's not just some funny, fuzzy recollection from years and years ago. You were concentrating, you were studying. Oh, yeah, so the guns, yeah. I thought I had mentioned that in the last video. I'm really quite sure I mentioned that in the last video, but it's not on my video now that I saw, unless I made a real quick sentence somewhere, but there's something else in the video that's changed too. They modernized. But no, these guns go way back. They've been using these since, most of my life, approximately. I really should check it again, but I actually did check that for the last video, and they were using them since, like, for most of my life. They'd been using them since I knew about beef eaters, never saw their images. Single action rifles. Yeah, I just remember this old-timey cock. Yeah, you don't really expect them to shoot those things. Wood stocks, yeah. I do remember that knife thing. And I kind of remember like a tassel thing or something on them. Yeah, some of these do have the bayonets on them. Yeah, see, there's actually our bayonets. There's the knife on the end. It's kind of weird, but I mean, you got an assault rifle with a little pokey knife on the end. It does not make sense now. Yeah, they still have a bayonet, but they're like a semi-automatic something. Islands by Florida, totally weird. Yeah. Yeah, the knife has always been there. It's just that the whole rest of the rifle was different. I can't remember exactly what the knife looked like, but I do remember the knife being on there. But I really do remember this dorky tassel somewhere around the stock area on the other end of it. So when they would do their thing, that tassel would flip around and it'd just be a little bit more pomp and circumstance. Okay, so those are our beef eaters. Now, the old video was about me not remembering these things in the hats. There's a bunch of colors of them that designate different guards. So these are the queensguard now. They're not beef eaters anymore. What other thing was I going to say? Okay, so when I looked at my old video, and when I was doing these searches after I figured out not to search for the beef eaters, can you imagine my surprise? I type it in and I get all these goofy freaking, sorry if that's really insulting, and maybe it is, but that I've never seen before outfits, let's just say, on here. And I'm like, that was really Mandela Effect. It's like, the hats are gone. Okay, so So what do they say over here? Blah, 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 blah. All right, so the Scots guards, we've covered the yeoman warders. Scots guards, dum dum dum. That's the thumbnail image. When I was searching through, I think I used Buckingham Palace guards because I wasn't sure what term to use right away. I found some of these images with these freaking gray coats, and this is one of them. I actually this morning found a lot more images of them. Strangely, I couldn't find but this one today, and I had saved one from this morning, and now it won't come up. So I don't know if we're passing through the gray coat timeline or what, but the one image that I had a real nice image of from this morning now is like failed. View image, doink. Okay, so I saw this. I'm like, what? Okay, well, maybe it's because it's the band. But no, they're saying the Scots Guard wears the gray coats. That's what it said over here. They wear the... You have the Scottish Guards who protect the gates. They wear the gray uniform. Okay, so they're right at the gates. It's not just band practice here. And I looked at my old video, which is still up, and lo and behold, I have images of these guys with the gray coats. Now, I swear I've never seen them before. And when I did my video, everybody had red coats. There were no gray coats. And it's just kind of amusing because here I am yapping away about the slight tuck of the hat and this and that. And there's these freaking gray coats right there. And I don't say a thing about the gray coats. Oh, no. I just yammer on and on about the hats. And here's another thing. I don't remember chevrons. I really do not remember chevrons on the British outfits. There's a fair number of them on a few of these images. I really, I don't know if this is always right, but I just think of that as an American thing, these chevrons. And when I see them on there, it just reminds me of the American Army. I don't remember there being any chevrons. Frankly, there's some of these outfits now have so much crap on them. I mean, like, it looks like a cartoon because they have, like, when they make fun of, certain countries that overdo it by having 10,000 buttons and pins and stuff. The Queen's Guard's starting to look a lot more like that. This is kind of an example. This guy's got this whole thing on his arm, all this stuff. Apparently the Scots Guard sometimes wears kilts and things. They have some kind of modified bear hat thing. None of this was in the old timeline. The Queen's Guard they all had red coats and bear hats, and that was it. I covered last time how the hats are ridiculously low over the eyes. You can't even... How can you be a guard? You can't even see. I noticed there's quite a variation in the hats, too. This one's way taller than this guy. So that's also different for me. It used to be, up here so you could see. You could see past your feet. They gave them semi-automatic rifles, but they can't see past their feet as far as I can tell. There was a few images on here of some kind of ridiculous, a bunch of junk that they were wearing. Just, like pins and gold putty potties. And it used to be a lot more of a clean outfit. It didn't look like a over-pretentious communist country type style. It's looking more like that now. I don't know, maybe I'm just really obnoxious today because it's not a very polite thing to say, but alright. Control. Alright, this is another one, and this was in my old video, yet I didn't say a peep. I do not remember all these little dots on the coattails at all on any of them. This is actually totally visible on my old video. I didn't say peep. I don't remember any white, I don't know, what is it, dangles here. Although that is not as obnoxious as some of the other stuff. It's funny how it is. Okay, that's a little bit of an example. There's like 10,000 medals. There's like gauntlet things on the wristbands and the cuffs a lot. This guy's got the dots and the white thing. Definitely just more pomp and circumstance in this timeline by far. And I guess I'm just not used to it. It's another one I don't remember. Where's plus? Plus. I don't remember all these dots here. I say no, don't remember those. Never saw any pudgy guys before, frankly. Usually they're pretty stomach sucked in, would be normal. Check out these ones. Okay, here's some of that stuff I was talking about. Plus. What's all this stuff on the arms? All this stuff on the here. Bizarre. Never seen it before. Never seen it. Damn. It takes hours to get dressed. Yeah, it just reminds me there was some kind of I think it was South Korea. They were joking because the generals would have like just these rows of pins. It must have taken them, 2 or 3 hours to pin them all on. Now this is starting to remind me of it. Yeah, no gray coats. So the Scots guards, here it says on that one website, it says the Scots guards have the gray coats, but they don't always. Some of them apparently have kilts and kind of extra fuzzy. I'm gonna check this one out. Scots guards, they're beefeater. I mean, no, they're bearskin hats are way fuzzier. Look at, they're super fuzzy. They look like Howard Stern hair or something. It's not. I mean, I guess that's probably more realistic for bear fur, but I guess they didn't shave them. I've never seen these super fuzzy hats either. So there you go. More weird. Maybe take a picture if you find an old school camera with the flash, if they sell those. I'm not sure what find we're talking about though. Didn't they have the weird feather thing on the bearskin hats for a while? When I made that last video, not sure when exactly that was, but maybe a year ago. That's when I first noticed them. And before that, maybe it was about 6 months before that, Mandela Effects had done a video on them, and I didn't see any of those thingies on there. But according to the current timeline, they go way, way, way back. Again, all my life they would have been on there. So yeah, they still have that weird feather thing. Although, interestingly, it's harder to find. I did not find a lot of instances of it. But I went back to my old video, and on my old video, all of that I recall, all the instances that I recall of those toilet brush thingies in the hair are still on there. So they do still exist. That's one thing good about making videos is if you made it once, you can go back and consult. But that video will change. I swear that I used the term beef eater in that old video, and it's not on there now. And I really like that term because that's how I learned them. I didn't know they were the Queen's Guards until I did that last video. So beef eater is, in my mind, it's those dudes with the fuzzy hats. And that was my search term. Yeah, no chevrons. Chevrons were American. I mean, I can't swear that they were the only ones that ever had a chevron, but I had never seen them. I've certainly never seen them on these guys. Yeah, they used to not be able to move. Now they move. That was actually like one of the main themes of my last video. I think that I'm the one who broke that one too. Oh yeah, that's true. Legs together on post. You're right. Um, let's let's queensguard. Let me just see if I can find some images of them standing. Oh yeah, look at that. Yeah, that's a good find actually. Ghosty 333. I do remember them having their legs together when they were standing. Look at that. See, it just looks sloppy now. They don't look nearly as crisp as they did in my old timeline either. I mean, some of them are kind of pudgy. You know, the hats are not as standardized. Some of them look kind of scruffy. I mean, this guy, he does not look... He just does not look... his hat's a little akimbo. His feet are out kind of weird. Look, he's got a bunch of junk on his cuffs again. A bunch of weird... It looks like... Well, it's not the world's best photo, but it really looks like he's got white bandages on them. Alright, so let's see if we can find another guy standing at the gates. That's that same guy. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, you're right. Ghosty333 is so right. That does not look nearly as cool as they used to look like. See, some of them have these medals and stuff now. They never used to have all that. And their feet are all out like side. I mean, I'm sure they're going to say it's easier to stand that way, but it used to be they had to stand for hours, and that was just their job, to not move and stand for hours. Now every 10 minutes they go for a stroll. They stand all goofy like that. Yeah, Ghosty caught that one. Good job. Yeah, they look weird. Razzle dazzle uniforms, yeah. I mean, to me that just looks so sloppy. In their pants are kind of baggy here. They kind of have a bulge out at the thigh zone. That I just don't recall them. They just were a lot sharper. It just looks kind of like the shoulders, it's all wrinkly. I wonder if the Married with Children ep where they go to England is still the same. Darn, I didn't see that one. Yeah, that would be interesting. I mean, I've seen a lot of the Married with Children's, but I haven't seen every one of them. The hats are more fluffy. I do think they were a tad more fluffy than the last time I complained about them being more fluffy. But the hats used to look almost identical to me. This guy's hat looks kind of tall, and his eyes show. This one's sagging over his head more, and it's wider. They just don't have the crispness. They used to be really crisp. They can move now. Yeah, Dennis, you didn't see my old video. Yes, my old video, it shows. It used to be, you could go like in front of them and stuff, and they weren't supposed to move. I mean, you could canter about and whatever. That was part of their discipline, that they could look at you with their eyes, but they couldn't move. But now, they'll just stomp at you. They'll point a gun at you. They do all this ridiculous stuff. If you do that, you can't mess with them now. And it's always been that way. According to this timeline, it's always been that way. I seen a video where a queensguard punched a guy. Yeah, the last like year or two. And every 10 minutes they march around and then they march back to their post. So they're supposed to march like every 10 minutes so that it's not too hard on them to stand, apparently, is the story. And I mean, if it was just some kind of new thing so that they'd be more comfy, but no, it's always been that way. It's always been that way. Yeah, nope, they walk every 10 minutes, they go for a march. Always been that way. Always. Yep. I know. Yeah, there was a scene where they mess with the guards to get them to move as a joke. I have not done extensive research on the can't move thing anymore. I did do that like a year ago. But it was just said at that time to be a common misconception and that they can move. Yeah, they were very uniform. They would kind of, like you said, they would kind of make them, they were crisp. They were about the same height if they were together. They would work it out. They probably would just put like all the tallest ones in front or something. So when you looked over, there was clean lines. Nobody had it like a paunch, and they didn't let you in if your stomach was sticking out. I mean, there's not that many of them, so they could be pretty picky, I'm sure. Linda Brubaker's off to bed. Thanks for coming. Appreciate it. I didn't even say hi to everybody, so I'm like, I guess I was so busy to rant on this. Not beef eaters, no longer beef eaters. Oh, you can see, look, you can see that these guys have the little red toilet bowl cleaner things in their hair. I think they're supposed to be feathers. Taller guards have taller hats. Maybe in this timeline, yeah. You would think that they would give the short guys the taller hats and the tall guys the shorter hats so that they would balance out more. I mean, that's how I would do it. Yeah, actually, you're right. Why is their hands together? Dum, dum, dum. They used to have it, like, down at their... One hand was down at their side, and the other hand clutched the gun like this. You're right, now that you mentioned... Who mentioned that? That's also a good... That's a good point. See, you know, I look right at it. Do you ever remember the Bart Simpson bugging them in an episode because he couldn't move? I do remember, not that one, but I do remember seeing like just that kind of thing in various stupid comedies. Yeah, toes pointed outward, exactly. Oh, I think I'll solve some problems here. Hold on just a sec while I read some stuff. All right. Oh, it was Dennis Branham. Sorry, Dennis Branham. Why are their hands together? Let's take a look at a few more images, because that is a good question. I've not seen that pose. What are they doing when they're at the gates? It looks more normal at the gates. I actually remember a little bit of a bend in that arm, but I wouldn't swear to it. That looks a little bit more normal. But yeah, I don't recall them with their hands in the front like that. That's not one I'd swear to, but I don't remember seeing that before. It's kind of a weird, like you just kind of happen to have your, you just happen to have your gun, like, held like, I don't know. It's a weird pose, but It's like you're holding your hands in front of you, and someone just happened to slip a gun in there. What the heck is that one? Is that for real? Alright, that must be CGI. Look at all that white stuff on the butts of those guys. Who are these people? Just saw that one. Why do the queensguard wear bear skins? What the heck? Look at all the white on their butts. They've got the little dots, and then they've got like white pouches. These guys got the blue. These ones really do look like toilet bowl brushes to me, because toilet bowl brushes are always blue and they're really big on this one. Control. Ah. Got. Doink. I'm not accepting that. So these guys got the blue ones. That guy's got the white ones. So they're all different. They used to all have like one outfit that they wore. They weren't all like, I guess this timeline is everybody looks unique. They used to be kind of a, you know, they weren't so individualized. They should give them golf carts. Yeah, I don't know. What, pouches for iPads? You know, that scene might still be there because they're just saying, oh, it's a common misconception. And so you can have a scene in a comedy that's based on something that's a common misconception. Let's just do a quick search. Austin Powers. I'm not going to play it because it's a really good way to get a it's a really good way to get a copyright strike. Maybe I'll play a tad of it. Royal Guard playing Austin Powers. Royal Guard playing Austin Powers? Huh. Look, and they all have the gray coats, too. So I guess that's Scots Guard. Alright, so they dress up as the Queen's Guard. I don't see them messing with the Queen's Guard. Wait, maybe here. Okay, yes, they do still mess with the Queen's Guard. But see, in this timeline, this guy would never allow this. If you touch them, they like stomp their foot and yell at you, and then they'll point their gun at you if you don't listen. So this could never happen in this timeline. Not, you know, you couldn't really do this. So this is basically just residue now. Common misconception. Oh, so he does turn his head there, though. So, yeah, still there. I'm betting the other ones will, too. Now, I don't think I really know for sure what I remember them not being able to move, but I think there was a limit to how much you could mess with them before somebody would haul your butt off. I mean, they weren't going to break their move, you know, as long as you didn't, like, punch them or something. But you weren't allowed to molest them, but I don't remember them doing anything about it. I mean, you think about it, those guys, they're the guards, but they're not the only security in the area. Alright, so anyways, that's that one. Laughing at that business. I think I covered everything I was going to complain about. You never saw things like this. Scots guards caught goofing around when the queen isn't looking. Yeah, you just never saw things like that. Alright, so what else we got here? Alright, here's another one. Good old Aurora borealis. Once the northern lights, but now existing in the south as well. Alright, so let's see if I can find this. This is probably not the exact. So, man, I'm just seeing a whole bunch of solar wind lightning strike link discovered. And there's something about crepuscular rays. Okay, that wasn't what I was looking for, but all right, Yahoo had one. Yahoo. For some reason, I am not finding the exact article. They said deviated solar winds, and now I can't find the one that said deviated solar winds. Alright, in 9 states. Let's just try this. Boom. Alright, so there was an article that said Aurora borealis visible in 9 states due to, in 9 states. And then in the thing, it said, due to deviated solar winds. And that's what caught my eye, because, first of all, you didn't used to be able to see the Aurora borealis in the United States. You had to go way up north to see it. And they didn't exist in the southern end for me. Now they have north and south. Second of all, then the last few years we've been seeing them visible further and further towards the equator. And the storyline up until recently has been due to giant geomagnetic storms. Unprecedented geomagnetic storms are allowing us to see these auroras in unusual areas. But now, the story on this last one that I just saw, that now I can't find, I don't know if it shifted again or what. I mean, it's only a week-old article, but they said it was due to deviated solar winds. So now the story is the solar winds from the sun blow onto our magnetic field and deviate or change their shape. And if the solar winds are fast, then they push the magnetic field somehow so that you can see the aurora over a larger area. So that's the new storyline, is fast solar winds. Let me see if I can find one that said that. But they used the word deviated first, and then when I looked it up, it said fast on most of the articles. Dun, dun, dun. Occurrence released an intense gust of charged particles called solar wind. It also fast-moving cloud. See, Minnesota can see them. Northern California, I think. Anyway, they definitely said at least a couple days ago that it was due to fast. It did, because they said that this storm is, it's only a little bit big. It's not a monster storm. So now that's the change, anyways. That it's fast solar winds now. Parakeets with blue feet. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I've not seen the blue-footed parakeets. Yeah, I've never seen a blue-footed parakeet. And all right, so not exactly finding. Let's see what we can find on all. This one looks like it has a blue foot. I've never seen blue feet on a parakeet before. Cool. Neither have I. See if Pinterest is... I hate clicking on Pinterest because half time you get there and the link that you're trying to find is nowhere in sight. Or there's no info like here. Yeah, it's not giving me anything. Darn. What color are parakeets' feet? In mature male budgerigars, the feet and legs are bright blue. Are you serious? So it's not even a special type of parakeet. It's just in mature males. Well, that makes it easy to tell. You know what? My mom had budgies, and a friend of mine had budgies, and they definitely had mature males because, they were breeding them, and none of them had blue feet. None of them had blue feet. And that certainly makes it easier to sex them because we were always wondering, basically. You stick enough of them in there, you'll have some mating occurring, but we never were sure. Sometimes they'd act like a pair, but they weren't. Like, if they're just going to have blue feet when they're mature, then that makes it easy, doesn't it? All right, you could tell by their nostril color. That's interesting. No, there was no giveaways. There were no easy giveaways. Some experts could palpitate them and figure it out, but the sare. Yeah, no, there was no easy way before. It was a common problem. You'd have this pair and they were all friendly, and then there was never any eggs and you didn't know why, and then you find out they were both females or something. Weird. Okay, well, there you go. Albuquerque, really? What is it now? I remembered it as Albuquerque. Really? It's okay, yeah, Albuquerque. That's what I remember. Oh, okay, it could have had an Albu. Yeah, it looks weird, though. I don't know with that U in there. Alba. I don't know about that one. I have to say that wasn't this one I knew the spelling of really well, though. The bug-eyed Budapest pigeon. I've covered pigeons before, but they're always coming out with new ones. The Emmy is busy making creepy pigeons. I think I've covered this, but they weren't that buggy. And they've gotten more bug-eyed since last I've checked. Yeah, look at that one. I think I actually went through this 18 most bizarre breeds, but look at how much more buggy they are now. Oh, look, they've got whiskers. Dum dum dum. Birds with whiskers. Okay, I can go on all day about these ridiculous birds. They look like those goldfish. The English barb pigeon. Okay. Ew. That looks gross. It's got like, it's all warty on the face. I just saw a little bit around the eyes. I haven't seen this one with the warts all over the face. Look at that. Ugh. Does not look good. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Yeah, no. Okay, look at that one. I should have made that as the thumbnail, but I didn't know about it. She'd be like, if I put that up as the thumbnail, everybody would be like, what is that? Because you can see the neck, and you can't tell if it's fur or feathers, and then there's like this block of tumor. Ugh. Elephant pigeon. All right, are we at the DG? What spelling of pigeon are we on? For a while, I was on pigeon is my original spelling. Okay, we're back to that. For a while, the last time I was talking about pigeons, they had slunk a D in there. It was Pidgeon. And I was just getting used to that, and now they're back to normal pigeons. It's been normal pigeons for a few months now. Weirdest thing, crows practice necrophilia. Ah, wouldn't even surprise me. Elephant pigeon. See now, Slip E. Feister is doing the Pidgeon version of the timeline that I was in for a little while and then left. So maybe that's residue of my temporary timeline. Elephant pigeon. I'm not seeing an elephant pigeon. Those are just Photoshops, guys. Dum dum dum. Photoshop. Colors. Peacock. Alright, now I've had the white ones for a long time in my timeline. I mean, like 10 years or something. There was, and then the green ones. So we have pink ones now, or is that a Photoshop? I mean, I can get pink ones that are dyed, but, is that a real peacock, or has it been Photoshopped? So you can get these colored ones, but those were dyed. I actually do sell feathers, so I've looked into this before. Trying to find different feathers. But I just ended up going in a different direction. Check out those horses now. Peacock spotting on a horse. Look at that horse! Come on, people. Check that out. That's cool. Peacock spotting on a horse. It's like a Dalmatian horse. That's one you really would have thought was Photoshop, but all right. What colors do peacocks come in? Can be categorized being one of these 13 color mutations: white, cameo, purple, charcoal, opal, bronze, peach, midnight, jade, or taupe. Sonia's violetta, hazel, indigo are one of the two naturally occurring colors. Are you freaking kidding me? Yeah, that's pretty new. I do check into these occasionally, and none of these were here last time. None of them. Just the albino, that was it. Be nice if they had some images of these. This one might be hot off the presses. There's not a lot of images. They really should have images of each. I mean, it really shouldn't be that hard to come up with a website that shows each one. Let's see if this one will do it. Pinterest. I mean, are those real? They're really pink like that? Okay. Those were not there. There's no way. That's a trip. I'm just not sure if I really trust that yet, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look at that one again. Oh my gosh. Look at that must be the gray one. Cool. That one looks like a legit photo. This one, I've not seen that guy. Dang. See, they used to just be dyed. Wow, that's so cool. I'll check out the spider. Neat. Alright, yeah. You know, there's not a lot of photos right now. I think that one might be a really new ME because that's just sort of my experience that when something's really new, there's not many images of it. I do, you know, Shari, I remember them talking about Folgers having the D also. I do remember that. They were kind of, I don't know, who was it? Somebody's channel? They were harping on the extra Ds. Oh, see? Folgers is back to Folgers. This is my original timeline. There's no D. Now, I don't remember refrigerator having the D, though. I was not in the D refrigerator timeline. I don't remember, and I probably would have noticed that. Yeah, my original did not have those Ds. I just passed through that timeline. Flip-flop. Fizzy Pop. Pigeon. You came from the D Pigeon timeline. Yeah, this timeline, there's no D in Pigeon. I just passed through your timeline, and I guess you came with me. Giannis Windsor's talking about pet birds without feathers. Yeah, when they first were showing those naked birds, they said it was like, oh, from nerves or birds with alopecia and all this stuff. Oh, they're stressed and all their, or a genetic mutation. But yeah, there have been an awful lot of naked birds showing up in images lately. I agree with you there. Dolphins with tusks or teeth that come out around the upper beak. Oh, dolphins with tusks, Dang it. Let's see what we got here. Besides the narwhals. Let's use the word fangs. Just to get away from the narwhals. Dolphin fangs. Yeah, it might be a bit of a search because I'm trying to do it and I just get narwhal, narwhal, narwhal. Fizzy Pop came from, yeah, you came from the D Pigeon. I was in there for a while. Piebald. Every animal has a piebald version now. Even humans. Bubbles remembers it as a flip-flop, like me. It showed up, then it was gone. I had peacocks where I grew up, including white privileged ones. I just had like the regular color ones and the white ones. That was it. All the rest, if you wanted those feathers, they were dyed. And I sell feathers, so I looked into this stuff. You know, when the Folgers one came, I'm like, that was sort of like one of those 95% MEs. Like, I was 95% sure there didn't used to be a D, but I couldn't totally put my back into it because I'm not a coffee drinker. But now that it's flipped back, yeah, I'm positive there was a D in it. And because, you know, we talked about it. So now I'm really sure on that one. Strawberry time is off. See you later. Thanks for coming. Who else remembers Scarab talking about the obelisk that he found in Texas like months and months ago? Now he says it's brand new to him. So where's our old dad? You know what? I think I would say that every one of the YouTuber Mandela people that I watch a lot has shifted versions on me, and I probably shifted versions on them. I don't, so this stuff doesn't surprise me at all. I look at old videos, they're not the same old videos. Sometimes they'll post one, I'm like, you posted that months ago, but nope, they're just now posting it in this timeline. Oscillated turkeys. I actually did cover the oscillated turkeys a long time ago. I'm gonna stick them in there just to see if they've changed much. It's been a while. Oscillated turkeys was one of my first ones where I was flipping out over. Like 3 years ago, I was like, they do look a little brighter than I remember. Especially with the tail spread. I don't remember all these dots on the tails here. I don't remember all those like tumor growth blobs on the head that much either. A lot of the animals are getting that. And it looks like it's got a huge wattle now too, actually. At least that one does. Let's see about this one. This one doesn't. They're a little more oscillated now. What's that bump on his head? Wait a minute. Wait, this was not here before. This bump was not on the oscillated turkey last I checked. What, some of them have it and some of them don't. Maybe it's just the males or something. But yeah, no. Some of them have giant head bumps now. Okay, people. Yeah, that one has a head bump. That one doesn't. It's probably like sexual dimorphism or something. Okay, weird. Yes, oscillated turkeys are weird. They're a little older weird for me, though. Justice for all is off. Thank you for keeping the world safe with justice. Kind of corny today. All right. So anyways, where are we at? All right, this one. And an angel brought up some stuff about the Andromeda Galaxy. And when I was investigating his stuff, I saw... All right, Andromeda Galaxy. I remember that as the closest galaxy to ours, okay? It's not anymore. It is not the closest galaxy to ours. And this, Andon brought this to my attention by bringing something else to my attention, which was these. Galaxy. So apparently our galaxy is eating another galaxy for breakfast. Here's a nice image of it right here. All right, so we're eating these galaxies. And so this is an old galaxy that has we're flat, basically, our Milky Way disk. And then these other galaxies, we've somehow chewing them, but somehow they are not going on the same plane as ours. I'm not really sure how that would even happen. There's another pretty good image of it here. Doink. I'm gonna blow that one up for you. All right, so these are other galaxies that we were chomping down, apparently. And one of them happens to intersect right around where our sun is. And so some people are going around saying that, excuse me, pardon me, that the sun, our sun and our little rock here may have come from this other galaxy. Now, I've never heard of our galaxy eating any other galaxies, not to mention that material from those galaxies would be in ours. Other sources, the more official sources, are saying no, because our sun rotates with the Milky Way galaxy and not with this other stuff, and blah blah blah. So they're suggesting that it's just coincidence that we happen to be near where these other galaxies are being eaten. So it's not official canon yet, but it's getting floated, this idea that we're actually maybe not from the Milky Way galaxy anymore. Okay, so what is this galaxy we might be but aren't officially part of coming from? Is called the Sagittarius dwarf spheroidal galaxy. So now this is actually the galaxy closest to the Milky Way now, and Andromeda is only the closest spiral galaxy. So there's, I guess this galaxy has been eaten into a spheroid, like a circular smear, and it is the closest galaxy. And it makes this weird loop around ours. I've never heard of it. I've never seen it. And found this one. Good job. Definitely. Is an elliptical loop-shaped satellite galaxy of the Milky Way. Did you know we had satellite galaxies, like, right intersecting with our galaxy? It consists of 4 globular clusters, the main cluster having been discovered in 1994. So, some time ago, definitely long enough ago for me to have heard of it. In its looping, spiraling path, it has passed through the plane of the Milky Way several times in the past, causing perturbations, blah, blah. Anyway, so this is the closest galaxy to us now, because it's basically almost just intersecting us. All right. And then another one in 2003, there's a Canis Major dwarf galaxy. Oh, you know what? I said that wrong. The closest one is actually this Canis Major dwarf galaxy. I'm sorry. Read my notes here. My memory did not hold up good. Galaxy is closest to Milky Way. So I guess they thought they thought that Sagittarius dwarf was closest, but then in 2003 they found Canis Major dwarf galaxy, now thought to be the closest neighboring galaxy to the Earth's locations in the Milky Way, being located 25,000 light years away from the solar system, from the galactic center. And they're also calling it an overdensity. Canis Major overdensity. I've never heard of a dwarf galaxy. I've never heard of an overdensity. Overdensity sounds really cool. It is disputed. There's a disputed dwarf irregular galaxy in the local group, located in the same part of the sky as the constellation Canis Major. A supposed small galaxy contains a relatively high percentage of red giants, thought to contain an estimated 1 billion stars. All right, so Canis Major is the closest. I said that wrong. Then this Sagittarius dwarf is the one that some people are saying the sun actually came from and was like stolen by the Milky Way, but then it's not totally scientifically agreed on yet. Anyway, so yes, weird. Okay, now I'm going to talk about a weird one near my house, which is totally boring, but I want to say it anyway. I take the same off ramp off the freeway. Day after day after day after day. Imagine my surprise when the painted arrow totally changed. And I looked and looked, and I can't find any arrows like the one that I now have. And it is not freshly painted. It is worn and scungy, but it just showed up this week. I've got an arrow for my off-ramp, and it's got these like dots along the side, like 3 or 4 dots on each side. 1 to 3 like here, and 1 to 3. I have no idea what the dots mean. I've looked for an arrow with dots. I've looked for images with dots. And see, it's all old and half worn, so they didn't just put that thing in there. But I have no idea what the arrow with dots means. Some stuff showing up around here, I've never seen it before, and then suddenly it's everywhere, and I have no idea what it means. Are there other weird signs that have shown up over here, and I can't find it online. I can't figure out, what it's supposed to depict. Braille. I don't... This is a giant arrow that you drive on the road. So if anybody is blind, they are not driving on the road, and they sure as hell better not be getting out of the car and feeling on the pavement, because they will be flattened like a freaking pancake. There's no way. I mean, they could put some bots dots, those raised dots at the car, but they're not raised dots, so they're not bots dots. Painted asphalt lines, etc. changed on me last week. Yeah, it's probably around. It may have changed around then. It was all old lines, exactly. So, no, yeah, this is a big arrow, like a couple feet long or like 3 feet long, big pavement. You drive over it. The people are coming off the freeway. They're going 65 mile an hour or more potentially when they go over this thing before they get to slow down. So there's no way anybody's going to be feeling it. They're going to be flat. They're going to be pancaked. I spent 5 or 6 months on Carina Cygnus spiral arm Earth when there was every astronomy book I read said the Earth was on Carina Cygnus spiral arm. Then I shifted to Orion Earth, been here. I wasn't watching it that carefully, so it could be that was the case, but since I've been watching it, it's been Orion. Yeah, find those alcohol clouds in space. Is there even space? I don't know. Is space just a big fantasy land? Yeah, Andromeda was the closest galaxy, not the closest spiral galaxy. It was basically our galaxy is like a blender. Yeah, I don't get why if we chewed it up, why they're still like that. Why didn't they get sucked into our spiral then? Why aren't they like slurped down into our... I don't know. Jupiter has its own orbit. It is not going around the sun. Are you freaking kidding me? Are you freaking kidding me? They move through space together. Forget what you heard. Jupiter does not orbit the sun. Oh, that's hilarious. I got to write that down. Sorry, you found a good one. Jupiter. That's the haha one for today. I'm sorry. It does not orbit the sun. You all just learned it wrong. Oh my God. I have been feeling better this week, I have to say. I don't know if those antihistamines are working, but I still have a cough, but overall I feel a lot better. I'm really hoping that I'm turning the corner on this business. It's so huge, in fact, that it doesn't actually orbit the sun. With 2 times the mass of all the other planets in the solar system combined. It's big enough that the center of gravity between Jupiter and the sun doesn't actually reside inside the sun, rather at a point in space just above the sun's surface. So I guess they're just playing ring around the posy with each other now. Alright, so this is how they orbit, apparently. That's the story, and we're sticking to it. This is, in essence, how Jupiter and the Sun move through space together. Though the distances and sizes are far different, Jupiter is still only a fraction of the Sun's size. Jupiter is so massive, it doesn't orbit the Sun. Alright. Okay, people. "72 moons around Jupiter, 62 around Saturn." Yeah, no way. Sorry. No freaking way. It's just, you were like, oh, was it 2 or 3? You weren't like, was it 60 or 70 moons? Like, no, that's not right. November 8th and 10th, Dark Wolf's Dens, Mandela Effect Conference. Don't forget. That's sneaking up on us, isn't it? 2 months. I like how they also say no gravity in space. Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Let's see what they're saying now. And how do they pull on each other if there's no gravity? I don't know. When you really think about something... Some people think there is no gravity in space. In fact, a small amount of gravity can be found everywhere in space. Okay, so there's a microgravity in space. Microgravity. The myth that satellites remain in orbit because they have escaped Earth's gravity is perpetuated further and falsely by almost universal misuse of the word zero gravity to describe the free-falling conditions aboard orbiting space vehicles. Of course, this isn't true. Gravity still exists in space. You're just free-falling. I think somebody brought that up as a Mandela effect a couple months ago, that now you're just free-falling. You haven't escaped gravity. Which, when you think about it, makes sense, because how did they tug on each other if there's no gravity in space? But yet, that's what they always said, that there was no gravity in space. Alright, so now there's microgravity in space. Whatever. See, the stories, they just flip around, flip around, flip around. These stories flip around a couple times, and then you don't believe any of the stories. It's like, whatever. I don't know how anybody could take reality seriously when they keep changing the baloney story. Dark Wolf's Den, advertising payment, $10. Thank you. Appreciate it. $10. I'm rich tonight. Woohoo. Need Input has posted many, many plane videos. Yes, if you want the latest on the planes. They're so different for me, too. The wings are so much smaller. My old timeline had these huge wings on the 747s, and they were more out. Now they're, like, raked back. And that was before we even started complaining about the placement of the engines and the all those little flaps and stuff. Yeah, you made a mistake. Gravity now exists. You know, you can't keep up with this stuff. You really can't. I mean, I've definitely said stuff that was true last month, and then I go to look. I looked it up last month. I say it. I look it up now, and it's not true anymore. It's really helps you not to be a know-it-all, because you don't know anything. What you, no matter how good your memory is, the facts change. And it's hard because I gotta remember the facts from my original timeline and all these. It was first it was this, then it was this, then it was here, then it was that, then they said that. I'm like, every fact has like 10 versions now. I hope this brain is getting better at remembering stuff, because I have a lot more to remember. All those internal brain functions that have changed. Lord Frybread, I'm laughing, but I'm not doubting you. 70 plus moons around Jupiter, 60 plus moons around Saturn. I'm not doubting you. People have come on here, maybe it was even you, talking about those moons. And I don't know, I think for the moons, there's just a point where, like, I'm just like, I don't even want to hear it, how many freaking moons they're saying are there. I'm like, there's no point in memorizing it. There's too many of them, and they keep changing it. Somebody just said. All right, what else we got here? All right, Omega Man commenter mentioned that if you look at your hand, I don't know if you could see this very well, and I assume this is where he meant, but right in here, there's a fold in the skin that's new. Now, he said there's a new fold on his hand. I assume he's meaning this one. I didn't really, like, grill him on exactly what he meant, but looking at my hand, there's a weird fold right here inside the thumb. And I think what has happened is that this thumb has sunk down even a little lower and a little farther out than it was even last time we talked about how the thumbs have changed. Somebody said something about it making like a wing shape, but I'm not sure what they meant by that. But anyway, yeah, different fold on the hand. I think really this is lower. I mean, look at this thumb. It's longer than this pinky is now. Measure that. It is. This thumb is longer than my pinky. The thumbs were definitely the shortest. You know, they were like that more. They weren't. They were the shortest digit. They were not longer than your freaking pinky. So I think that's continuing to change. And you look at how this one, you stick out your hand, this one spreads way out over here now. So you're getting a really good spread now. This one did not used to stick out, and it doesn't naturally. I actually have to make a conscious effort to make it stop. It wants to be out here. This takes a strain, and then if I do that, it's happy. So the hand continues to cover more territory. I think my toes are definitely longer as well. I used to have really short toes. Now they're getting to be almost average. Yeah, thumbs were always the smallest. They were always the smallest digit. I've been kind of looking at, because there's been a big rash of images on Reddit of huge long digits, like this guy with this huge long thumb. It just seems like whenever there's a rash of images on something, then there's an ME in there somewhere. used to be hard to make your hand flat. Now it's easy. I don't actually remember it being hard to make my hand flat, actually. Not for me, but... Last time I checked, they said that the pinky was the strongest finger. The pinky? The pinky is... Are you serious? The pinky? You know, it kind of makes sense that the one out on the end would be strong, but no, the pinky was the wimpiest finger. Pinky, strongest finger. That's funny if it's true. What is the strongest finger? Alright, is the pinky the strongest finger? Alright. Wiki answers attest that the pinky is the strongest finger and ironically also the weakest. Maybe it depends on what kind of pull you're talking about. Huh. Alright, this one looks like it's sort of, it looks like it's sort of in flux. I'm not really finding any trustworthy sources, and there's a lot of dispute. Okay, interesting, though. Oh, you mean like military salute like that? Oh, okay, maybe. Maybe. You know what? I can't swear on that one. You mean to keep it like this? I do remember, I think I know what you're talking about. I do remember for punching that I had to make a certain effort. I had to bend my wrist here just a little bit to line up the forearm with the punch because you wanted it to be totally straight. Now it lines up pretty good on its own, but there's like a weird bend here and then down, and I can't remove that bend. But so in that way, yes, it does appear to be, it's easier to punch now with it. You wanted to line it up so that the bones were the strongest with, you know, least strain. So in that way, I would say, yeah, it is easier to line it up that way. And I'm not an expert at saluting, so I can't speak there, but it would make sense. The moon is now in Earth's atmosphere. Yep, we covered that one. Feels like ears are getting ready to breathe underwater. Gills, yeah, I don't know. Maybe long term. I think that's going to be a slow one. You know what they might do is they might say, you know, that you could just suck in air and push it back out and survive, you know, for a short amount of time, say, like, you know, like your lungs could actually extract oxygen from water, say. Maybe they'll say, oh, you just have to learn to get used to it and not, like, you'd have to, like, expel all your air and suck more in the water in. But if you could get used to it, you could, you know, for 5 minutes or maybe it's 10 minutes. Oh, but these rare people have this special adaptation that they can do it a long time and blah, blah. I wouldn't be surprised if something like that was, because the Emmy is sneaky, so there it sneaks in like that. And it'll start out real small time, you know. Oh, well, there's less oxygen in the water, so you can't, you know, you'd have to not exert yourself too much, and you could only do it for a short time, and the water has to be clean, or, you know, stuff like that at first, and then slowly. Yeah, I've covered that there's some weird knuckle stuff. I have talked about that. One I'm seeing right now is this huge bump on this one. This one, look at that. That's weird. It looks especially weird if you look at it, trying to see what angle you'd see it from. This middle one on my finger really sticks up. Yeah, you know, I don't think I've covered this particular one. If that's what you mean, like this weird shape here, I have not covered that. Yeah, that's a good find. So these are kind of like hardly sticking up, and this one sticks up a ton, and that one's in the middle. They used to be all kind of the same. Palms are longer. I agree with you there, UFO Spaceman. I do agree with you there. Yeah, the holes in the ears thing, I covered that one a couple months ago when I first heard about it. Somebody actually found that one on Redcon, so I can't take credit for it, but I did cover it. All right, where am I here? Dots. All right, John Austin wanted to, how do you spell kombucha? Kombucha. Some of us remember it originally as kombucha. Kombucha. I think I kind of noticed this one too. It was kombucha for a while, and then it was some months ago, suddenly it was kombucha. And I was a little suspicious of it at the time, but I just wasn't sure, and I was kind of in a hurry when I noticed it. So kombucha is now kombucha, Kombucha. Used to be kombucha, CAM. So A has changed to O, basically. Kombucha. Also, Bel Air, the famous section of Los Angeles. Was it Bel Air, like AIRE? Or was it Bel Air as in just AIR? All right, so right now it's Bel Air as an AIR. Strangely, I kind of have a dual memory on this one. I do kind of remember it being that, but then also the other one. So I can't chime in this one, but John Austin remembers it as having an E on Bel Air, which looks strangely right though. So I don't know. I don't know on that one. All right, one more from John Austin. How do you spell vidal sassoon? Vidal sassoon, however they pronounce that thing. Kombucha. All right, so let's see what we got. Holes in the ear thing was creepy. Yes. I agree with you. I do agree with you. I'm thinking that didn't show up for nothing, but I'm curious to see what it will be. Ancient gills. My knuckles are pretty even, but the middle one. Skooks. Yeah, it's this middle one that you would flip the bird with. That knuckle now really sticks up. Alright, so let's see. Moonlit Illusion remembers CAM. Space River remembers CAM. Praise Para Justice remembers CO. And so does Skook Strange World. So it looks like about 50-50 on this one. Need input. I think you're in Japan, right? So you don't know all the latest trends in America. Kombucha's been like a big trendy thing for like at least 5 years now. It's supposed to be like healthy fermented drink. I can't stand most of those fermented things. All right. Need input. Remembers SASOON. Cupie. I think Cupie's yours, I believe, is I think yours is the current timeline one. I'm having trouble remembering what the current timeline one is now. SOON. Yeah. Cupie remembers current timeline. SASSOON. Now, John Austin remembers SASON. And I actually think that way back, I do remember it being sason. Vidal sason. So and then I remember there being another O, vidal sassoon. So you didn't have to think, oh, it's French sason. But now there's another S that I don't think that was in my timeline. All those S's. So need input remembers it. The way that's strongest in my head is the same as need inputs. Ghosty333 remembers sasoon also. I think that the single O was way back. I think it was a long time ago for me. So most people's memory, I think, were rewritten by the sasoon. Yeah, Shari, I think it was just one O, like way back. That word's going to be another word that gets longer and longer, and next thing you know, there'll be another L or another N. Most people remember sasoon. That's interesting. I really do not remember sass. All right. That seems to be the most popular one. I think it was sasoon for a long time for me. It definitely did not have... The two S's look really wrong for me. Looks like that's what most people remember is one... Well, I guess that would be two S's instead of three S's. All right. All right. This one is from Mark Tyrus. Gosh, I hope I wrote that right. Mark Tyus, commenter. Thank you so much. Since when do hurricanes move at 1 mile per hour for days? Since Hurricane Dora, apparently. 1 pH. Now, I've definitely heard, okay, the storm is moving kind of slow, and that's not good. But 1 mile per hour? I mean, the winds are flailing around at 100 mile an hour, but the actual hurricane is like, it's at a walking pace. Apparently, it's going to walk across the western seaboard up there. So there's a lot of places where it said it's moving at 1 mile an hour. Storms used to like move along at a decent rate in my old timeline. 1 mile an hour. They didn't just sit there like that. That's something that's just like the last year or so where these storms go. And it says Dorian is beginning to move northwestward at about 1 mile per hour. And there's different times when they said this 1 mile per hour. So it wasn't just, for a brief period. That is really slow. And it's given me another $5. Thank you. I very much appreciate it. Dorian did 0 miles per hour. Yeah, I've never heard of that. I mean, I've just never, ever heard of it. Just sitting there. I mean, they would say it was sitting there, but what they meant was it was moving slow. I mean, they wouldn't say it was literally just not budging. I mean, these are winds. There's storms don't just sit there. Like, the storm came over today. It doesn't just sit there forever and hang out, But apparently now hurricanes can do that. So that one, good find. Some of these things, I hear them, I kind of question them in my mind, and yet they don't click. Like, I don't click and go, wait a minute. And so that's what's great about you guys, because you guys click on some stuff that I miss, and then I'll click on some stuff that you miss. And when somebody brings it up, you're like, oh yeah, that is weird. That is new. All right, hurricanes. All right, so Esmeralda Bauer found this one. Esmeralda. I wrote so bad. I think I am not even writing names down right today. Why this lioness suddenly... So I apologize for killing everybody's name. I'm looking at that, and I'm pretty sure I wrote it down wrong. All right, so female lionesses can have manes. Bridget the lion is 18 years old and for most of her life has been mane free. And suddenly, at 18 years of old age, she suddenly grows this mane. Now, I've been saying it, and a lot of the animals are getting more scruff, like the tigers and stuff. So it's not just lionesses. So she's got this little blonde mane. You would think it would be at least the color of her, but no, that would be too boring. So she's got blonde, blonder than her. So they're saying, here's what's weird is, okay, in Botswana, Okavango Delta, Okavanago Delta. I thought it was Okavango Delta. I'm going to have to check that. Is it Okavango Delta? Okavango Delta. Okay, ha, I caught them in a typo. Neeners. Let me just check their spelling to make sure. Okavanago. I'm pretty sure it's not Okavanago. Okavanago. Oh, here it's Okavanago. No, it's Okavango. Okavango, correct. All right, so I wanted to say I've been hearing a ton about this Okavango Delta lately. Never heard of it before until about the last 2-3 years. Okay, so to the story. Main lionesses are regularly spotted in Botswana's Okavango Delta. I'm going to fix their typo. Likely the result of a genetic anomaly shared between related animals. So now we've got this whole subspecies thing where the females have nice goldy white manes. And then we've got these famous Tsavo man-eaters are often maneless. They may have evolved this feature to keep cool in blistering heat. So there's another place where the males are often maneless. And that was there's one other thing I wanted to bring up about that too. There was also a couple other weird things that were confusing the heck out of me on these different ones. Let's see if I can find where it was. Vet also suspect a medical condition may be the culprit, such as a tumor growing on adrenal or pituitary glands. It was found by a deformity in the lioness's ovaries, which contains cells normally found in testicles, causing an increased level of testosterone. Okay, here's the little ting-tang I want to mention. All right, so they're saying, first of all, that somehow the ovaries had testicle cells, and that the testicle cells made testosterone, and that the testosterone caused her to grow a mane. So vets conclude that the ovaries would have had to have been healthy in the past because she had given birth to cubs, leading experts to theorize her ovaries had changed to testes. Her ovaries changed to testes. Okay, so we're getting a lot of this weird sex change business. Apparently, if you're a lion, your ovaries can change to testes now. Okay, whatever. But there was another thing. Let's see if I can find that one. Darn it. Unique social system found. Social system. Maybe that's not why I'm not finding it. There. This is the article we want. Tsavo lions famous for man-eating at the end of the 19th century. First of all, I've never heard of the Tsavo lions as being famous for man-eating until just recently. Everywhere, these infamous Tsavo lions. No, it's a whole new deal for me. All right, so now they're saying these, they have a unique social system. Tsavo lions are the only lions known to live in large groups of females ruled by a single male. Okay, what's weird about that? That's my whole old timeline. That's how all of the lions were. One male and a bunch of females. And then they started talking about sometimes two brothers would co-rule. Apparently now that is just standard, and they all do coalition rule except for these Tsavo lions, which are like throwback lions. But the Tsavo lion males often also don't have manes. Let me see if I can find this little sentence. Each was attended by only one male rather than a coalition of 2 to 4 males, typical of large prides elsewhere. Yeah, no, it was just one male. In fact, I used to be I felt sorry for all those males because, I mean, that would suck. Only a few of them get to lead the harems, and what happens to the rest of them? They just have to survive out there. So apparently in 1996 there was a movie, The Ghost in the Darkness, which tells the story of two large Tsavo lions that killed and ate more than 130 railroad workers. Okay, if you say so, I don't know. Alright, so these two man-eaters were maneless. Scientists believe that lions evolve manes because they attract females, deter trespassers, and intimidate nomadic males, give a visual sign of territorial male control, and protect the vital head and neck regions in a fight. Okay, so they're saying they may have evolved because it's hot, dry, Tsavo landscape. I don't know, it sounds kind of baloney. I mean, lions pretty much live in hot, dry landscapes anyway. All right, here's the magic sentence. Now recall that I said that the ovaries changed to testes, and the high testosterone levels made the females grow a mane. Okay, that was the story for those female lions with manes. But now, one possibility is that Tsavo lions have elevated testosterone levels. So here, elevated testosterone levels cause them to be maneless. But in the other article, elevated testosterone levels cause them to grow a mane. All right, you can't have it each way. Testosterone is thought to inhibit hair growth and cause balding on the scalp of genetically disposed human males. All right, so if it's true, then how did it grow manes in the female lions? You can't have it both ways. And you start looking at some of these storylines, and it's like, no, you can't have it both ways. Either testosterone is going to be good for growing hair, or it's going to be good for killing hair. So, and it's the same hair structures. It's manes. It's not like on different parts of the animal and stuff. So, I don't know. Maybe they're going to come up with a U-shaped curve or something. But anyway, I don't want to. It's bugging me. Bugging me. Bugging me. Tsavo man-eaters were said to have been possessed. Yeah, I don't know. Every story is weirder than the next. What about this tribe that had no male at a certain age and they changed from female to male? Yeah, it was, that some of this tribe, yeah, I was thinking about talking about that, but there's so much to talk about. Tribe where male children. So basically there's these children, they're born, they look like females, they're raised as females, and then when they hit puberty, suddenly they grow man parts and are realized to be male. Now, I've never heard of you growing man parts at puberty, where girls turn into boys. The village where girls turn into boys. I've covered this one in a past one. You don't just grow man parts when you're 13. I mean, you can be born with weird parts, but I've never heard of anything like that. Guevadoches, which translates to penis at 12, or machi hembras, which translates to first a woman, then a man. 2% of the village's babies are born with a condition. So basically, they grow man parts, and they're so they're supposedly they were biologically always male, but some enzyme was missing. So why does the enzyme suddenly show up in puberty? I've just never heard of you being able to grow man parts later on. I mean, then why can't they just put this enzyme into people and have them grow a penis then? I mean, any female who wants to change sex, why can't you just take this enzyme and boop, there it is. You won't need surgery. I mean, I don't know. The whole story. So, yes, this totally did remind me, the story with the manes and the testosterone and all this plather, it does remind me a lot of this. The ovaries turning to testes. There's so much of that in this timeline. My brain is like, psh. That can happen only with fish, last I heard. Yeah, it starts with fish, then it's like frogs, then it's like everybody. African golden cats. All right, let me stick those up here and see what they look like. I'm not sure if we had this one on or not. There's so many new cats. It's really hard to keep up. We may not have had that one on. They're cute. Very red. See how many of these turn out to be pets. A lot of the new timeline creatures are more tame than the old timeline creatures. Magnetic oxygen. Are you serious? Magnetic oxygen. Is that the latest thing? Magnetic oxygen. Is oxygen attracted to magnets? Come on now. It is attracted by the magnetic field, but does not remain magnetic once it leaves the field. Why is liquid oxygen magnetic? All right, that's interesting enough. Let me write that one down. Okay, so it's not even some weird airy-fairy trend thing. It's a fact. Liquid oxygen is magnetic. Quit that. Paramagnetic. It's paramagnetic. It's attracted by the magnetic field, but does not remain magnetic once it leaves the field. It's paramagnetic. I've never heard that word before. Has two unpaired electrons. Unpaired electrons spin in the same direction, blah, blah, blah. Okay, it's getting all scientific, but yeah, weird. All right, so oxygen is attracted by the magnetic field. Maybe that's going to be their storyline by why it doesn't float off to space. Because it used to be gravity. Gravity held the molecules close. It got caught by our magnetic. No, it got caught by our gravity field. It got caught by our gravity field. So if they say now that that it can be caught by a magnetic field, then that opens up oxygen being caught by like smaller planetoids that don't have much gravity. All they need is a magnetic field. If they had say a lot of iron ore or something in the interior, then they could be magnetic. So that's interesting. It opens up what can have oxygen, in my opinion. There was an article about a small thing you could just put in your mouth and breathe underwater. Anybody remember that? I do remember like an apparatus. Let me see. Oh, I think it was a rebreather. For up to 10 minutes. Okay, that was what it was. 10 minutes of underwater breathing. Snorkel. Oh, okay, so it has like a little tiny oxygen thing. You pump up yourself, meaning it's a one-time cost to be able to swim underwater for 10 minutes at a time, or hang a couple of snorkels on your belt and go much longer. Oh, okay. Yeah, I do. I think I did see this. I don't know if I covered it. I'm kind of curious if they work, actually. Snorkel. It actually sounds pretty cool. Do they actually work? Snorkel, Amazon. I want to see the reviews. $180. It's really not that much. Any scuba dive with 5 to 10 minutes of air. 8 customer reviews. Boy, there's not many. You can do it. Works as advertised. Very short supply of air. Best used for dealing with small problems under your boat. Don't expect to dive for any length of time. Leaks air. Also only worth about 3 minutes of air. These guys are awesome. Huh, interesting. Alright. Yeah, I did see that. I don't know if I actually covered it or not. Check now to make sure you're still the same. You know, I was looking up under... I've covered this before, but up underneath your mouth, if you stick a mirror in there, it's looking really weird in there. There was some little bumps in there before, like little grainy bumps, and now there's like this weird pattern up underneath the roof of my mouth, way in the back. And the roof of my mouth is getting really high, really high. I remember could separate the oxygen from water. I remember a tiny white thing that you put in your mouth thingy. Oh, you know, I don't know. Unless it's a rebreather. Absorbs the carbon dioxide of a user's exhaled breath to permit the rebreathing, recycling of substantially unused oxygen content. They're not small either. I don't think that's the one you were thinking of. Yeah, I don't know, but I don't think I know the one you were talking about then. He's going to be practicing tongue placement. You know, I naturally stick my tongue at the top of my mouth a lot, so I don't really practice it. It does do that, though. I have a cleft palate, so mine would look different than most. That doesn't mean yours is not changing, though. I'm sure yours is changing. Just because it's cleft doesn't mean that it won't change. You might want to look under there and just kind of track it. You might not be the same as everybody else, but it could still change. Alright, where are we? Why is this... Got you. Alright, I'm getting down to the end here. Got you. Dots. All right. The last one is a very short one. I'm going to just look and see what you guys are up to here. So the last one is that I have complained before that we didn't used to get these hot rainstorms, like tropical rains in this area. And then we just got like one, and they said it was rare. And then the next year we got 2 or 3, and they said they didn't really say it was rare. And then one year we got like crap loads of them for months and months, and they weren't rare. So this year now on the news, they call them the monsoon rains. We've got monsoon rains here. And I want to say no, but yeah, we do actually. I mean, a lot of hot tropical storms come through here. Now, originally, the first few, they blamed it on hurricanes further south. But now we have monsoon rains. So this freaking storm came through, and it dumped like an inch in 2 minutes. And there was freaking rivers everywhere. And then it just sprinkled a bit for 10 more minutes, and it was gone. And an hour later, it was sunny again. It's insane. And, you know, I talked to neighbors, and they don't remember rains ever doing that locally. It's getting very monsoony here. So if you look it up now, it says that the monsoon range reaches into, like we're at the northern end of the monsoon range. So Mexico has monsoon. You know, monsoon thing, that was like Africa. We did not have monsoon rains. So I guess we do now is all I don't know. So I guess that means we can get rain like in the summer. Might be good for this region to get more rain because they're hot. I don't know. It's kind of confusing me, but that's a thing. Oh, you know what? The other thing I almost forgot. I'm going to add this in. See if I can find a map here of Hurricane Dora's path. Blip, 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 blip. So they're saying it's going to go over to like Virginia and stuff. Wait, am I doing this right? So Dora, what's that current one? Yeah. There. All right, we'll take that one. All right, so in my old timeline, you just didn't have them. They're talking about it going up into Virginia and Maryland and stuff. This hurricane might. In my old timeline, it was too freaking cold up there. They just wouldn't go up that far. It would die out around Florida and stuff. You know, it might hit the end of Florida, but it wouldn't just keep cranking up north. So when I was reading that, I'm like, wait a minute, Virginia's getting a hurricane? Virginia never got hurricanes. My parents are from Virginia. There was no freaking Hurricane Dorian. Is that what we're working on now? I thought it was Doreen or something. Dorian. I thought it was like Dora earlier today. This one's kind of freaking me out. Somebody on my channel mentioned that it used to be Doreen, and then it changed to Dora, and I wasn't sure about that, but I'm like, okay, it's Dora now. I swear I was just looking at it. It was Dora, like this morning. It was Dora. I just looked at it like earlier today, and it was freaking Dora. So I'm like, oh, maybe I'm confusing them. Maybe it was Dora first, and now it's Doreen. Instead of Doreen first, and now it's Dora. It's Dorian now. Dorian. No, this freaking hurricane is changing names on me. All right, I'm sure it was freaking Doria, though. I was just looking it up. And I have it in here, too. I have it written down. All right, so freaking Dora. Okay, Dorian. They said it was going to go up to Virginia, and I'm like, nope, that's so wrong because it's too cold. That the water used to be cold, and it would just putter out, and it would just be like a tropical storm. It wouldn't be a hurricane anymore. So, yeah, hurricanes travel further north now, I guess is my point. I'm hoping we don't get any over here, but food doesn't taste the same. Yeah, I don't know. My taste buds have been weird since the 90s, and food tastes different every freaking day. I never know. Like, one day one thing will taste great, and the next day it's like, meh. I mean, this morning a food will taste great, and tonight it might be meh. Every now and then some food I hate tastes delicious. Like carrots, I never really loved them, and then one day I was eating these carrots, and it was like, they were like the best carrots ever invented ever. It was the weirdest thing. We never had hurricanes in Canada before, but last year we had a lot of them in Toronto and Ottawa. Yeah, you never had freaking hurricanes in Canada. Hurricanes were tropical, cold, warm places that had really freaking warm water. Really warm. Canada definitely does not fit that bill. Which is, it worries me, because then that means we should be able to. I mean, if Canada can get them, then why doesn't Southern California get them? I'm almost afraid to say it. I don't want to jinx myself. Two-hour mark reached. Yeah, I'm about to close shop. Yeah, might be why I don't care for red meat much. You know, I went through this big old phase where I totally didn't want any meat. And in the last month, I'm like, that's all I want to eat is meat. Chicken, beef. And I wasn't eating beef, and now I'm like, oh, beef is delicious. So I don't know. I'm in the total beef mode now. I thought I might have been slowly becoming, Emmy vegetarian, but lately, no. Had some steak today. Oh my god, it was good. Skook Strange World, I'm tired of shifting. Yeah, I think I don't know. I mean, there's been a lot of shifting, but I haven't really seen like mass improvements to my life. I would really rather, if we're gonna do all this and go through it all, I want to get like, they should like lower my taxes, and my power bill should get smaller, and that's, I want to see more Emmys like that. Then I'll have a better attitude about Emmys. There's not a lot that's really helping me right now. Just, I don't know, maybe I'm just getting crabby with the Emmys too. It's like my brain has exploded, and there's so many, and nobody sees them. If we're gonna keep having them, I wish at least it would get more popular, more people would see them, so we wouldn't have to be the freak show. Shari D, just wait a couple shifts for hurricane and tornadoes. I'll tell you, Shari, we used to have those water spouts. Now, when those showed up, I was surprised because I didn't know we ever had them, and that was like 15 years ago. I'm like, oh my God, California gets water spouts. Well, now the water spouts sometimes just load up onto the land. So basically, we do have tornadoes sometimes, and they're usually not that big, but for the last like 5-6 years, we have water spouts that flop onto the land. So we kind of do have tornadoes, unfortunately. But you're right, we have not had any hurricanes. I don't see how Canada can get them and we don't, but that's just fine. I don't need to see them here. We've got the earthquakes, so leave us alone with the freaking hurricanes. We have had a little tornado here in Cali. Yeah, we get them now. The tornado thing, they're just really, there's all these kinds of tornadoes. They're a lot more powerful. They don't have to be attached to a storm anymore. To me, it's like a steak sounds great, but when I get it, it's like, eh. Yeah, well, for a while it was like that, but lately I'm back in steak mode. I don't know. I had it taste so good. All right. Anyways, I think it's time for me to huff on out of here. got a lot of Biker Babe 2009 tornadoes here too. Never used to have them. Where's here? Where are you at that you're getting them? Just curious. I think that we talked about Europe getting a bunch of that crap now. This is just to be too cold up there. That's why you didn't have it. Canada and those places. The water was just too cold. Anyway, hopefully Biker Babe's gonna let us know where she's getting the tornadoes. I think I'm gonna get ready to. Upper Michigan. Okay. Yeah. It was way too far north. All right, anyways, I think it's time for me to sign out. So, thank you all. You guys, as usual, came up with a lot of good ones. Jupiter doesn't rotate the sun. I mean, it doesn't orbit the sun anymore. That's ridiculous. Oh. All right. So anyway, thank you, everyone. This is Eva signing off for Once Upon a Timeline. Oh, and I forgot my thing. Think good thoughts. This is Eva signing off for Once Upon a Timeline.